sports.
We are the Fourth. We are the Lions.
Well, Mother Nature's trying to cooperate here. After a lot of rain early in the day, we're hoping to dodge the wet stuff here tonight. It's the opening game of division rivals in a 4-game series. The Cubs are in town to take on the Cincinnati Reds. Hi again, everybody, alongside Chris Welsh and Brian Giesenslaw. I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome, as always, to Reds baseball. Reds are playing good baseball right now. They've won 3 in a row. Chris, they've won 6 of their last 8. And, man, for the first time all year, this offense has kicked it into high gear.
Well, they're beginning to get a little bit of a flow. I think guys are seeing the ball better. They're moving the ball along. They're hitting the home run ball, obviously. You're always going to have that when you've got Jeanette and Suarez and now Duvall in the lineup swinging the bat hot. But it's a team that needs to score some runs because so far the starting pitching hasn't been all that good that they're going to win the low-scoring tight ones.
All right, let's shift gears now to the Chicago Cubs. The last time we saw them, they were right around the 500 mark. They have been rolling. They now have the best record in the entire National League. And you talk about a team that can do it with pitching and offense. Offense is spotty right now, but their pitching is lights out.
Oh, well, they're the odds-on favorite to win the National League. I mean, they're going to do it with pitching and offense, but they're not the only team out there that has had inconsistent offense. The Brewers have had a very inconsistent offensive support, and so have the Washington Nationals. Those teams are also expected to do well, but you can see what they've done here lately. 12-6. That's a great record. Earned run average is first in the National League in that, and they're a team that still can score some runs, especially in this ballpark.
It's interesting. You look at their lineup tonight, and Kris Bryant now 4 games in a row in the leadoff spot.
You know, maybe Joe Madden had a dream one night and said, maybe I should just put Brian in the leadoff spot, and sure enough, that's probably the way it came about. He's never wanted to shy away from toying with the lineup. He gives you a lot of different options at the very top. He'll take a walk, he'll hit a home run, and he's got some speed too. I think something that's very underappreciated for Brian.
All right, when we come back, we'll check in with Brian down along the Reds dugout on the first base side here at Great American Ballpark. Is Adam Duvall finally starting to find his groove here in 2018?
Baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Chevy. Check out our award-winning lineup only at your Tri-State Chevy dealer. By Skyline Chili, feeling good, it's Skyline time. And step up to GMC with nearly $4,000 purchase cash on an Acadia Denali when you finance through GM Financial.
All right, Reds fans, I'm Local 12 News meteorologist John Gum. Cubs in town for a 4-game series, and there will be a chance for a little rain roaming the ballpark tonight. Here's the good news, though. I think they're going to get this game in just fine. Can't rule out a delay as a shower, even an isolated storm passes through. Temperatures nowhere near as hot as what they have been. We're going to be in the upper 70s by the first pitch, low 70s by the final out. Enjoy the game here on Fox Sports Ohio.
Welcome back inside the ballpark. Reds and Cubs here tonight. And as far as Adam Duvall goes, the question for Duvall so far this season has just been consistent playing time. The Reds have had the 4-man outfield rotation, and Duvall at times has struggled offensively. But some consistency starting to show up for Duvall lately. He's been better than .300 his last 13 games that he's played, and he got a big boost in the Detroit series with 4 hits, including a 3-hit game on Tuesday and the home run in yesterday afternoon's game. The good news, the good barometer for Duvall in those hits, opposite field shots appreciated by the Reds first baseman.
I'll catch Adam sometimes hitting at 10 in the morning on a 7 o'clock game, or staying after the game and hitting for an hour or two. I mean, we've both been there. But like when you just care so much and you really want to perform well and you feel obligated to your uniform, the city, and then obviously yourself, you do the extra work. And this man right here, you know, you talk about looking at me. I look at him and I have a deep sense of admiration for how hard he works and how much he cares and how, you know, how he wants to be a success in this league.
And stick around when we come back. Starting pitchers take the mound. Matt Harvey and Kyle Hendricks. Reds and Cubs, the first of 4 at Great American Ballpark. Tom and Kris are back after this.
To the Great American Ballpark pitcher's mound, making his 8th start as a Red, his 12th overall this year. First time he's seen the Cubbies since facing them twice in 2017. More on that later. Joe Madden, his team has won more games than any National League club going back to the year he took over in 2015. 334 wins. His lineup tonight has Bryant again leading off at third, Jason Hayward in right, Javier Baez at second. Rizzo, the first baseman, Addison Russell at short, and the Middletown native Kyle Schwarber in left. Wilson Contreras catching. The UC Bearcat Ian Happ in center bats 8th, and Kyle Hendricks on the mound bats 9th. What about Matt Harvey tonight?
Matt Harvey looks like a guy that's still trying to find himself, not reinvent himself, but kind of find the fine tuning that it takes to get major league hitters out. He pitched last against the Pittsburgh Pirates. He was actually in line for the win in that ball game until he went out in the 6th inning and he gave up back-to-back hits and then watched the bullpen gas him in. But he ended up 1-3 on the year with the Reds. He's 1-5 overall on the season. And he's still, I think, trying to get his arm and body in sync. When he's right, the slider goes straight down and his fastball goes to all different quadrants of the zone. The question is, can he keep that sync going and have good command on the fastball?
Now, I know you did double duty tonight. You did Reds Live the pregame. Are you also doing Reds Live the postgame
I am
tonight?
indeed, yeah.
Are you really?
Yeah. Want to come down and join me?
That's a good payday for you today.
We've got one extra
That
seat
is
down
called
there in the
tripling up today.
Post-game desk has
Well,
3
I tell
seats.
you,
Only
to
2
beat
guys
you
in it.
the next 3 days. First pitch to Kris Bryant. Check swing and a foul ball out of play is strike 1, and we're underway. Well, it's beautiful. 75 degrees. Very low humidity. They were talking about all this humidity finally getting out of here, and it is really, really nice. Let's hope it stays that way. 4th game in a row. Bryant's been in the leadoff spot and quickly behind 0-2. Well, he went through a horrific slump, did Bryant, and now has things rolling again. 9 home runs, 36 knocked in, 20 doubles, and a .285 batter. And Harvey delivers a fastball high. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Hayward to follow, and then Javier Baez.
How about the early velo on the fastball from Harvey so far? 97 and 98. We haven't seen that yet this year. This might be interesting tonight. Well, the last few years, you know, it's sometimes difficult to compare from year to year velocity because of the different ways the Major League Baseball has measured the velocity. But I can tell you this, he's throwing harder tonight than he has thrown in any of his previous starts. So that might be a good sign as long as he doesn't try to just throw the ball by everybody.
Suarez to the glove side, throws in time to get Bryant. Let's look at Cincinnati on defense, presented by Ford. Hamilton flanked by Duvall and Winker. Scott Schebler went on the bereavement list today. Our thoughts and prayers with his family. Suarez, Peraza, Jeanette, and Votto third to first, and Tucker Barnhart again behind the plate. So Winker to start out in right tonight in Schebler's absence, and Winker will bat in the 6th spot. Duvall will play left and bat 7th. Reds line up later. Well, here was a guy that was having as bad a season as he did last year, the last time we saw the Cubs. And really that last game where he had that huge triple, had a couple of hits in the final game of the series. And Hayward has been on his way ever since. That batting average just short of 270. He was batting in the 190s last we saw him. 4 home runs, 30 knocked in, a .342 batter since the final days of May. Harvey ahead at 0-2. In the air to center. And Billy trying to get it, traps it. He broke back. That's a tough read, especially standing in the sun. The batter's still in the shade, and Billy a step short. That'll be a base hit.
Well, you called it exactly right, Tom. He's standing in the sun, and it's very difficult to pick the ball up, especially when a big guy like Hayward swings the bat. Your first tendency is to either freeze or take a step back. And Billy's smiling right there. He's thinking, you know what? You do that after sunset, and I'm all over it.
There's that bright sunshine. The only 2 players left in the sun are Hamilton and, of course, the left fielder, Adam Duvall. Javier Baez, 14 home runs, 46 runs batted in. He's been among the league leaders in that latter category the entire year, 6th most in the National League, and leads his Chicago team with a .532 slugging mark. Hayward does not have a stolen base. He was thrown out his only attempt. Eight of Harvey's first 10 pitches tonight strikes. 1-1 to Javier Baez. Slow bouncer. They'll try and get the one out at first. They will. And Hayward into scoring position. Three very softly hit balls to start this game against Harvey, but the Cubs have a runner in scoring position for Anthony Rizzo. Last time these two teams got together, remember, it was that weekend where during that day-night doubleheader you had the confrontation between Amir Garrett and Javier Baez. After Garrett struck him out early in the game, Baez had the night before gotten his first hit on a night where the Cubs had roughly 20 hits in the game. It was in his final at bat, and he stood beyond the first base bag after getting an infield hit and bowed to the crowd and threw his hands in the air. And it was the following day Garrett struck him out and was quite demonstrative on the mound himself. Baez took issue with it. Rizzo was the guy who was leading the charge from a dugout.
Well, he always gets very emotional, Rizzo does. We remember a few years ago when that same type of thing happened with Aroldis Chapman. Rizzo was in the middle of that one.
1-0 on Rizzo.
You know, but what that tells me, though, is that Rizzo, I think he plays the game the right way. I think he gets excited. He wants to win. You get kind of in the heat of the battle type of thing. And I think the same thing happened for Baez and Amir Garrett. That they both handled it perfectly after the ball game.
They did.
They got respect for each other. It's not personal. But, man, you like to see that kind of emotion. It's better than having, you know, players going through the motions.
Rizzo has never been much of a batting average hitter in this ballpark, but boy does he flex his muscles with a long ball. 16 career home runs in this ballpark for Anthony Rizzo. Naturally, a huge number of Cub fans have made the trip either in from Chicago or surrounding areas over in Indiana. And a lot of blue around the ballpark tonight. We're glad to have them. Their money spends here just as well as anybody else's. 2-2 to Rizzo, really choking up on that bat after getting to 2 strikes, and he just missed off the inside corner, not by much.
You see what the Reds are trying to do really with it, just about everybody in this lineup, but especially Rizzo in this particular at bat. Harvey's just trying to crowd him pitch after pitch on the inner part of the plate. He had a very bad swing on a slider a couple of pitches ago. I'm thinking they're going right back with it. I think that's what Barnhart wants right here. See if he moves to the inner part of the plate.
He does, and it's straight up in the air down the right field line. Who wants this one? Winker over near the stands and makes a play to end the inning. Yeah, high five down there for the little man. Got the baseball. Good stuff. First inning after a scoreless top half. And let's take a look at the Reds starting lineup tonight. It'll be Jose Peraza, Tucker Barnhart, Joey Votto, Scooter Gennett, Eugenio Suarez, Jesse Winker in right, bat 6, and Duvall, Harvey, Hamilton the ladder third. Really one of the more underrated pitchers in the National League. He's just had an excellent career, is Kyle Hendricks.
Well, he seems to do everything under the radar. And I mean literally under the radar, because his fastball probably wouldn't get him signed in a tryout camp right now. But it doesn't really matter. Big league hitters, they don't hit the radar gun. They see what they see. And with Kyle Hendricks, what you see is not what you get. He's got a fastball that can be sneaky, even though it's 88 to 90 miles an hour. He's got a very good changeup, and that is his go-to pitch.
You know, it's interesting to note that among all active starting pitchers in Major League Baseball, and we're talking you have to have 100 or more starts, there are only 3 pitchers in the major leagues with a lower career earned run average than Kyle Hendricks, and they are Clayton Kershaw, Jacob deGrom, and Chris Hale.
Wow.
The career ERA of Kyle Hendricks is 3.02. Joe Luckham has brought his A game, and of course he hadn't been here for a month, so he's had plenty of time to get ready for this series. Between coaching baseball, taking care of his kids, his wife traveling all over the world, you know, I mean, he's a busy guy.
This would be a good weekend for you to be smart then.
That would be a first. So I'm very excited now. Thank you. You just made my night. 2-2 on Peraza. 268 batter, 2 home runs and 19 runs batted in. Reds winning the first 2 games on this homestand, sweeping the Detroit Tigers the last couple of days. And the fans early on have brought their A game. It's a big league play right from the start that young lady made. Well done. The Cubs come into play tonight at 42 up, 29 down. Just percentage points ahead of the Brewers atop the National League Central. The Brewers will be starting a series at home tonight against St. Louis. They were rained out yesterday in the series finale in Pittsburgh. Cardinals go limping into that series. They were just kicked around by Philadelphia the last couple of days. And that pitch hits Peraza. He's aboard to start the Reds' first inning. Cubbies stack them up like this on defense, presented by Ford. Happ flanked by Schwarber and Hayward. Baez and Russell up the middle. Bryant and Rizzo, the 2 franchise players on the corners. Contreras and Hendricks, the battery. Now Tucker. Batting average up to 271. And since going into that number 2 spot in the batting order, that's 19 times, tonight being the 20th. His batting average is 298, but his on base percentage is over 370. He had a string snapped yesterday where he reached base safely 8 consecutive plate appearances. So a lot of people were quick to judge and rushing to judge that move made by Jim Riggleman. It's been a very good one so far. Slow bouncer here. On to second goes Peraza, 1 out. Now Joey Votto. Votto just 1 for 6 during the Tiger series, but the granddaddy of them all, a grand slam. He did walk 3 times. He again leads the National League in walks. And against right-handers, number 1 in the league, a .349 batter.
Well, not only his numbers against right-handers, but against this particular right-hander, they have been very good. In fact, best really on the Reds ball club. That cannot be a comfortable at bat for Kyle Hendricks when you know a guy standing in the batter's box has a 50-50 chance of getting a base hit off of you. And probably a 6 in 10 chance of getting on base.
One ball and one strike on Votto. Peraza at second base, one out. And Joey looks at strike two.
Well, that's a magic pitch right there if you can throw it. And every right-handed pitcher that I know who throws less than about 98 wants to throw that pitch. So they call it a front door fastball. And you hold it with two seams. You get good extension on it. You turn your hand a little bit at the very end to try to get that ball to kind of move back a little bit towards the plate.
Well, Hendricks has basically owned the Reds. It's his 12th career start, his second this year. He's 3-0 in his last 6 starts against the Reds, with an ERA at 2.9. In his career against National League Central Division opponents, this guy is 13-6 with an ERA at 2.7. So he has been money in the bank pitching inside the Central Division. 2-2 on Votto.
You know, when a guy dominates you like that, Tom, and he doesn't do it with just raw stuff. If someone goes out, Noah Syndergaard, for instance, or Max Scherzer, and he just outstuffs you every night, there's nothing you can do about that. But when you have a guy like Hendricks who has a different approach, maybe it's time for your hitters to have a different approach as well. And what I mean by that is maybe you change a spot in your batter's box a little bit. Maybe you crowd the play a little bit more. Maybe you want to get up in the batter's box even a little bit more. But the problem nowadays, it seems like there are fewer and fewer hitters that are willing to experiment like that. I'm not saying that's good or bad, but I do remember back in the day that, you know, if you faced, Joe Morgan 3 times, he may be in the different part of the batter's box 3 different times based on what he's looking for in a particular at bat.
A one hopper to Rizzo will send Peraza down to third, but the foot on the bag makes it 2 away in the inning for Scooter Gennett. Scooter leads his team in hits, runs, home runs, batting average. The last Reds second baseman to do that, you've got to go all the way back to Hall of Famer Bid McPhee in 1886.
It might be easier just to say he leads the Reds in everything.
That's about right, except for runs batted in. And the guy standing on deck goes into play with 4 more than Scooter.
What he's been able to do this year, Gennett, is hit well because he keeps his head perfectly still. Never really kind of floats his head out over the plate or forward towards the pitcher.
See his National League ranks, the league's leading hitter. Here's a 1-1. Way out in front of that 78-mile-per-hour pitch by Hendricks. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Talked about this yesterday. Scooter Gennett has just been so good with runners in scoring position and 2 outs.
Man, that's money in the bank.
And that home run came yesterday. That was a 2-out home run by Gennett, which tied the game in the Reds' 6th inning. And then Suarez broke the tie, hitting the solo home run to left field. Runner at third. Reds trying to get on the board here in the 1st inning. An extended look in by Hendricks. Big time hitting, because Fulmer was dominating the game yesterday and then made the mistake giving up the home runs. Back-to-back batters, and Fulmer wound up being hung with a loss.
You know, I think the Suarez home run was a hanging pitch and a bad pitch, but the one that Scooter Gennett hit looked like he hit it off his shoe tops. I mean, that's the kind of pitch that when you, as a pitcher, throw it, you think, well, you know, you never want to give the hitter any credit, but you have to sometimes. And Gennett has turned himself into one of the better breaking ball hitters in the National League. And that's the big difference for, I think, Scooter between this year and last year and the years previous.
This will be the 8th pitch in this at bat. Gennett trying to get in the run from third, and there'll be a 9th. Another foul ball off to the third base side. A lot of early souvenirs. Apparently the Cub fans didn't bring their defense tonight. That's a 2nd boot in a row. That fella right there in the Bryant jersey, I mean, he ended up, I think, no, he didn't get the ball. He dropped it. That fella right there gives it to that little boy. Good stuff. And another pitch driven the other way. And look at that attempt out there by Schwarber. Former linebacker at Middletown. Took a pretty good hit right there.
Yeah, linebacker or not, I mean, that's a cement wall behind that 3-inch pad. I'm not so sure that I want my left fielder, if it's Kyle Schwarber, doing that on a foul ball. But that's the way he plays the game.
It's funny, our producer Josh Hall reminds me of a comment that Schwarber made about his football days, and, you know, could he have played at the next level? He said, well, there was a high school game where I was chasing Braxton Miller. He said, and I was within 1 step, and the next thing I know, Braxton Miller's gone down the sideline. Miller, of course, a quarterback just up the road, and went on a star at Ohio State. Now has converted himself from a quarterback to a wide receiver and playing in the National Football League in Houston. Peraza and Votto both saw 7 pitches. This will be the 12th pitch in this at bat to Gennett. Schwarber an easier time for this one. No score at the end of 1. the July 2nd, 3rd, and 4th series. You buy this $12 ticket package and you receive a voucher for a free regular hot dog, a 16-ounce fountain drink at the game. Plus, we'll have the great fireworks shows 2 days, a 3rd and a 4th. Go to Reds.com/deal, and remember, this great deal is only available through the entire ticket package. That will be a lot of fun being on the home front for a change on the 4th of July. That'll be the Chicago White Sox in town. Second inning, Matt Harvey to face Addison Russell. Scoreless game. Steve like one on a fastball. Russell at 282 has been red hot. Another guy who was just really the day or two before the Cubs arrived into Cincinnati their last time here. He started to heat up, and he's been hot ever since. If I'm not mistaken, I think this is a Cubs' last trip into Cincinnati this year. It is. That's hard to believe.
It is hard to believe. The Reds have yet to beat Chicago.
That is really hard to believe. So that means we have 3 trips to Chicago.
Correcto.
It's not too bad. Worse spots.
I like the day games in Chicago.
We have a 4-game series. I know when we go there in August, where the first game is a night game and the next 3 are day games.
Sweet.
On a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. The Reds will go there in July, right after the 4th, 3-gamer, then mentioned August, and then in September. So the Reds will be going there when most of the time the weather obviously is very, very warm, and most of the time that wind is blowing out. Jim Riggleman was a manager of the Chicago Cubs for 4 years. In his final year there, he took them to the playoffs in 1998. They won 90 games that year. I beg your pardon, 99 was his last year. 98 they went to the playoffs, and in 99 they lost 95 games and they let him go.
That makes him really one of the longest reigning Cubs managers. I mean, going back to, I don't know, Leo DeRocher.
Yeah.
In 1972. To have managed parts of 5 different seasons as a Chicago Cubs manager. He followed up that 90-win season by a 95-loss season, and that brought in Don Baylor in the year 2000.
So here's the Middletown Mitty Schwarber. 243 batter, 14 home runs, 34 knocked in. Leadoff walk issued to Addison Russell by Harvey here in inning number 2.
It's a great example of here you see Schwarber down in the lineup. After him you see Contreras. He was batting 3rd earlier in the year in the lineup. This is a lineup that just doesn't quit, and it beats you down mentally, so that every inning you're out there you seem like you're pitching through the middle of the lineup, because you're pitching against potential all-star type hitters and guys with power that can all go deep. So when you pitch a game where you have to feel that every batter you've got to be careful with and finish every one of your pitches, that's why sometimes you end up going to the bullpen a little bit early against a team like the Cubs. They're their offensive ranks first in a lot of important categories. The runs that you saw there where they ranked first, that's a good fastball that he throws it right by him. You know, they take a lot of walks and they get on base.
Here's Wilson Contreras. Straight up in the air, should be the second out of the inning. In foul territory. Joey Votto squeezes it tightly. So after a leadoff walk, a strikeout and a foul out, and that will bring Ian Happ to the plate. For whatever reason, this guy, he was the best player on the Cubs team when they came to town the last go round. Over a 400 batter in this ballpark. In 32 at bats, has 5 home runs. But the Reds must be the only team he's hitting, because he's batting .221. He has 9 home runs and 21 knocked in.
Not bad for a number 8 hitter, though. I mean, you don't want Ian Happ. You got to remember that Ian Happ is 23 years old. I mean, he came up last year. He batted .253 and had 24 home runs as a 22-year-old. I mean, there are a lot of guys as senior college players that are just now being signed at age 22.
Well, I would bet Jonathan India is probably 22. He's a 4-year player, right? 3-year player. He's close to it. Let's put it that way.
So the point is that, you know, he's accelerated. So you expect to have, you know, higher peaks and lower valleys for a young player before he figures out how to kind of raise the level of performance and keep it a little bit more within certain means. But he's a very dangerous number 8 hitter, as the Reds found out earlier this season.
India will turn 22 this upcoming offseason. And remember, he was walked 9 times in that series. 5 of the 9 were intentional walks. That's when the Reds had that Friday night game, a day-night doubleheader on Saturday, then the Sunday afternoon game, and every time you looked up, Happ was on base.
Mm-hmm.
One on Ian Happ. And a fastball is high, 2 balls and a strike. This will do it for the Cubs in the 2nd inning. A leadoff walk, 3 in a row set down by Harvey. Still no score. Fans down here below us, I'll tell you that. Brought to you by Elk and Elk. All right, Major League Baseball teams that have a .250 or better batting average and a .330 or better on base percentage. The Cubbies and the Reds right there. How about that, Mr. Welsh?
How about the Reds being on this list of offenses to be feared with the Astros, the Cubs, and the New York Yankees?
Yeah, look at the records of those other teams.
Well, I mean, this is a record right here. That's all brought to you by starting pitching.
Did you anger some fan down below us or something?
I don't know where we have that mic hanging, but we maybe ought to reposition that.
Or reposition him permanently.
That might be easier. More effective.
And against the shift, Suarez just punches one into right field for a base hit to start the Reds' second inning.
Well, that's got to be so satisfying for Eugenio Suarez to be able to hit the ball exactly where it looks like he's aiming that he wants to hit it. And he's got a wide open spot right there on the right side of the field, and he bounds it right through the hole opened up by the shift.
So that makes it now 11 straight games with a base hit for Suarez, a new career best. Here's Winker. Breaking ball, strike one. .254 batter, 3 home runs, 10 doubles, 19 runs batted in for Winker. Boy, the Diamondbacks have jumped all over the Pirates. Pirates having a hard time. 6-0 Arizona, and they're in the second inning.
Well, the only thing that could save the Pirates tonight is the rain that moved through Cincinnati may end up in Pittsburgh tonight.
Well, better get there quick.
The way that game's going, it doesn't have to be there that quick.
Well, I mean, what's interesting is they started the same time we did, and it's 6-0 in the bottom of the second. We're in the bottom of the second, and there have been a total of 3 base runners in this game.
Well, we had a very long at bat. With Jeanette, what do you have, 12 or 13 pitches? I think that was a 5-minute at bat right there, at least.
Earlier today, Colorado downing the Mets 6-4. Rockies have really been sliding. They've had to win 3 in a row just to get within a game of 500. Pull to the right side, double play ball here. That'll take care of Winker. And now Duvall with the bases empty and 2 gone.
You know, on that particular pitch, Kyle Hendricks got exactly what he wanted out of Jesse Winker, which is not the ground ball double play. That was the result of a slowed down swing. Watch the swing by Winker. He's just trying to make contact right there, you know, not trying to strike out. And by slowing the swing down, you're going to basically hit a soft ground ball, and it was right in DP lane.
Duvall at 199, but he still has 12 home runs and 41 runs batted in. Duvall 4 of 6 with a couple of doubles, a home run, and 3 knocked in during the 2-game set against the Tigers. And bear in mind, in the game yesterday, he did not start. He did not come in until the 6th inning, and a home run his final time up in the 8th. After starting the night before and getting 2 doubles, 2 batted in, was on base 4 times, had 3 hits. Nice crowd, beautiful night here at Great American Ballpark. Great ballpark. Boy, the more we travel around, the more and more you appreciate what we have right here. Great park. Got a buddy of mine who came in today, first time he's been here from Cleveland. And he was telling me he thought this place was lights out.
Well, it is. And not only is it a great as far as your fan experience, but also made that way because of the ushers and the people that work here.
Sure.
I mean, just a ton of friendly people.
Yep. I used to give them their uniforms every day. Had that as a job one summer around here. Around the old ballpark, not this ballpark. One of my high school teachers, Robert Williams, has been an usher here for over 40 years. One of the great guys in the world. And one great teacher. Great teacher. Duvall gone swinging.
Romano not scheduled to work here tonight, but he did put in some time on the clock earlier today. Sal Romano worked the drive-through window at the McDonald's in Amelia. He said it was his first fast food working experience, armed with only a brief stint as a busboy that he took on this job this afternoon. He was there, though, to do this. Signed autographs afterwards. He said the highest compliment he received on the day wasn't necessarily about his work or his time behind the counter. It was that one customer at the drive-thru said he was the best looking drive-thru person she had ever seen.
Well, you better take that when you can get it. There's no doubt about it. Good for Sal Romano. Here's Kyle Hendricks. And he looks at a strike. I'm going to be out bagging groceries tomorrow for Kroger. Out in their Cherry Grove location. So if you do your shopping out there, I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow about 10 a.m. It's an old summer gig of mine as well.
What's that?
Bagging groceries. You and I have talked about this before. I'm doing it out tomorrow at Kroger.
Well, I'm an old grocery bagger pro myself.
I know you are. Yeah, but you were in Cape Cod. I mean, you had people that sent other people to carry their groceries in Cape Cod, right?
Well, we didn't even have baskets where you could, rolling baskets to put them in carts.
Yeah, you had to carry them out.
Right. So if you need any tips, let me know.
Well, come on out and visit me tomorrow in Cherry Grove.
Wait for me.
Yeah, I'm sure.
In case I'm not there right at 10 o'clock.
Bring my man Luke with me and put him to work. See if he can make some cash for the family. 2-2 pitch. Strike 3 called on Kyle Hendricks. The temperature is very, very comfortable, but out on that mound, there's not a lot of airflow down on the playing surface here, and so Matt Harvey trying to stay cool down there in that dugout.
Oh, that feels great, though, on a hot day.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, they're going to call it a foul ball. Oh, no, he did not go. I thought that they looked down at first base umpire to see if Jeremy Rehak would say that he made an attempt to swing, and he did not. Harvey's a little confused. In fact, Jim Riggleman's going to take a look at it. That ball looked like it went off the bottom of the bat. And the problem with that is that Bryant has his hand hanging over the knob so that it could have hit his finger or the base of his hand there, but still also got the bat itself. But if it hits your hands, the hands are not part of the bat. That is a hit by pitch.
So it's the 11th time that he has been hit by a pitch this season. You see that falls right in line with his running mate, Anthony Rizzo, at 10. Hayward is swinging a foul ball. 0-1 on Jason Hayward. His first time up, he had a single in the center field. That's the only hit so far tonight against Matt Harvey. Suarez will throw. What a play. No, they're saying that Votto came off the bag. Boy, what an effort that was by Suarez. Nearly a spectacular play.
Well, spectacular play anyway. Just smooth as silk right here. Fielding, throwing, really in one motion right there. And just Votto just not quite long enough to be able to keep his foot on the bag and field that baseball. Good try by both ends, though. Well, that's a shame here for Harvey already. Now with the pitcher striking out to start the inning. A pitch comes a couple of inches in off the plate. You hit Bryant to put him on. A little tapper by Jason Hayward. Second time he's barely put wood on the ball, but he ends up with his second hit of the night. And now the meat of the order.
Ball one high on Javier Baez.
This is only the fourth game this year that Javier Baez has batted in the number 3 slot in the lineup. I swear, the more you think about the lineups that Joe Madden puts out there, the more you think it's almost a random, lottery draw.
You know, it's so funny you say that, because when I saw their lineup today, that's the first thing I thought of.
I mean, it's like the pick 6. Which ping pong ball will come up first? Of course, when you have the kind of talent that he has in his lineup, I mean, does it really matter?
No question.
I mean, you take all the baseball cards and you toss them on the carpet and you make your lineup from there.
2 balls and a strike on Baez. Down the right field line. And this will plate the game's first run. Bryant comes in to score. They're going to wave around Hayward. Here comes a throw by Jeanette. safe. A two-run double by Baez.
Well, the first hard, legitimate hit of the night, really, for the Cubs. And it comes at a very tough time with a couple of runners on base right down the right field line. Good hitting by Baez. You know, you go to a safe spot with him when you pitch to him because he pulls off the ball, but he was just able to hang in long enough on that to be able to drive it down the right field line. Hayward comes around to score the second run, and Baez goes to third on the throw.
All right, so a runner at third, one out, 2 runs in. The Reds will bring the infield in, and Rizzo, the batter. He popped up to short right his first time up. And first pitch swinging tardy on a fastball, strike one to Rizzo. Did that pitch hit him? It did. So Bryant hit for the 11th time in this inning, and now Rizzo hit this season for the 11th time, also coming in this third. And Danny Darwin's going to come trotting out of the Reds dugout.
Now this is just a momentum breaker trip by Darwin coming out there. This is what you call no satisfaction at all about hitting a batter. I mean, not that you should want to hit a batter, but I mean, if a guy's going to earn his base, you at least have earn a welt. And neither of the times I think that Harvey was put runners on in this inning with hit by pitches. That happened to the Cubs hitters.
All right, so Addison Russell, the batter, runners at first and third with 1 out. Russell walked leading off the second inning, his only trip to the plate tonight. 2-0 Chicago. A hit batsman with 1 out, an infield hit, and a 2-run double by Baez. Baez now at third, Rizzo at first. Breaking ball, he checks his swing, and on the appeal does not go around. To the count on Addison Russell. Runners on the corners, 1 out, and a 3-2 pitch to the Chicago shortstop. Harvey lets it fly. Rizzo running. Can they turn it quickly? They will be able to turn it quickly. How about that? Harvey needed that. Couple of runs, couple of hits, one left. Cubs lead middle of the third, 2-0. WLW and be part of the Reds fan cam. You can answer a Reds trivia question, win great prizes, be a part of an upcoming Reds Live post-game show. That'll be this Friday. That's tomorrow night, 6 o'clock at the Holy Grail. Strike called to Harvey, quickly 0-2. Matt leading off the Reds' third after the Cubs got 2 runs in the top of this inning. That is his second strikeout for Kyle Hendricks, and now he'll face the number 9 batter in Billy Hamilton. Hamilton had a very good series, the 2-gamer against the Tigers. 4 hits and 8 at-bats, had a double, a home run, scored 3 times. And of course he had carried that over from the final game of that Pittsburgh series where he had 3 hits. So you see what he's done in the last 3 games, 7 of 12.
I think the whole idea for Billy, and we touched on it, Tom, a little bit when we were doing the games in Pittsburgh, about, you know, he just kind of has to relax a little bit at home plate. Just try to let the game come to him a little bit instead of the other way around.
Baez makes a play for the second out. Well, Peraza, by getting hit by a pitch his first time up, he has now reached base safely in 21 straight games. That's the 4th longest active streak in all of Major League Baseball and the longest in the National League. So 2 down, and Hendricks throws his hands into the air and misses outside, ball 1. 2 runs, 3 hits for Chicago. The Reds have been shut out on 1 hit. Their only hit was a single by Suarez leading off the 2nd inning.
Now, what Peraza has done this year, he slightly reduced his strikeout rate, and he has slightly increased his base on ball rate. And the batting average is up. I mean, except for that short period of time that he played in 72 games in his first year over here with the Reds in 2016. He batted .352 then. I think a lot of people may have thought, oh, you know, that's where he's going to start next year and move up from there. It doesn't always happen. But you're seeing a much more confident player at the plate, keeping his head behind the ball when he takes a swing.
You know, he's just done a solid job. I mean, look, he's taken the place of a longtime fan favorite, clubhouse favorite, no doubt, in Cozart. He's been solid.
Well, look what he did.
But solid.
Yeah, but the year before, he took the place of Brandon Phillips at the beginning of the year. So, I mean, for the second consecutive year, he's taken the place, or trying to, of a guy who's been here for several years, has become a fan favorite. And I think that he felt that pressure.
Tucker Barnhart, the batter, he bounced to third his only time up. Now, despite the fact that Peraza is getting on base with far greater frequency than he did this time last year, he's not running much.
Now, 9 bags is all he has right now. He's only been thrown out a couple of times, so when he runs, it's been efficient.
There he goes. They picked a good pitch to run on, but that's how good Contreras has been. Mercy. What a throw that was. That was on a breaking ball, and it looked like Peraza had a good jump. The Reds may want to take a look at this. What a throw by Contreras. I think the Reds are going to ask for a review. They are. That tag may have come late.
Well, I mean, when you get a throw that accurate, you want to let the ball travel as far as you possibly can, because the ball's traveling faster than your glove will be able to travel when you grab it and tag. I think he got his foot in there. And the Cubs defenders may feel the same way, because they're just kind of hanging around there in fair territory. But don't the overturned calls seem to take a little bit longer than?
Yeah. The crew chief is a third base umpire tonight, Jerry Lane. He's standing there with a headset on as you're looking at them to the right. And your old buddy Greg Gibson, the umpire who made the call at second base.
Pride of the Commonwealth.
You used to be the pride of the Commonwealth.
I could never say that I was the pride of the Commonwealth. I did live over there. Loved living there.
You were the pride of the Commonwealth.
I did, yeah.
You were. What, 15 years, 20?
Oh, yeah.
All
15,
right, well,
20 years.
There you go.
Now it's all Greg Gibson, Randy Marsh, all the umpires.
Right. That's right. Of course, the crew will make this decision watching these replays in New York City.
And really the way it works in New York City is they have a command central. They have, you know, 2 umpiring crews there that take shifts so that make sure that every game is covered. And there are probably more than one umpire right now looking at this play, trying to determine the outcome. And I've sat in that seat. I think Jim Day was also with us one day when we went there as a visit. And it is not an easy thing to decipher. We're going to find out now.
Safe as a call.
You know, I always got the feeling that it used to be embarrassing for an umpire to get the call wrong. But I don't think they even care anymore, because reviews are so common. And to have a call overturned is so common that, hey, let's just get the right play, the right call, and move on.
Well, really, that was the whole thing that really, you know, as reluctant initially as umpires were to review, ultimately those guys want to get calls right and have calls be made right. And they've been far more agreeable to replay as the years move by for that very reason. And look, everybody's going to miss one. Everybody's human. The last time I checked.
Yeah.
Going to make mistakes.
I mean, look at it from the catcher standpoint. Wilson Contreras could not have thrown a better peg to second base. but gets absolutely no credit for it at all because Peraza had a big jump. It came on a breaking ball. So that's the kind of things that the scouts would pick up about Contreras, but the analytics of the game would completely miss because all it does is go down as a stolen base against the catcher.
Boy, that was a money throw. All right, let's see if the Reds can get on the board after the call was turned over. 3 balls and 2 strikes on Tucker, with Votto waiting on deck.
You got to figure if you're Tucker Barnhart here, you're getting a pitch to hit. I mean, the last thing he wants to do is to face Votto, who's a .500 hitter against him, with a couple of runners on base.
Got him swinging to end the inning. End of 3, 2-0 Chicago. The All-Star ballot is now open and exclusively online. Make sure your favorite Reds are represented, and they are. The 89th Major League Baseball All-Star Game presented by MasterCard, July the 17th, live on Fox. So the Cubbies will come to bat here in the top half of the 4th inning, and they have a 2-0 lead. Hello, everybody. Of course, leave it to Dad to split and leave Mom there with both of them, right? I mean, and you can rest assured he'll hear about it. Here we go, Schwarber to begin things in the 4th. Down a strike. Schwarber struck out swinging against Harvey his first time up. Baez a 2-run double in the 3rd. The only runs of the game.
Harvey could use a nice easy inning in this one. It was a A stressful inning last inning because it started kind of slow. He got a strikeout to start the inning and then a hit by pitch and a little bleeder in the infield. Set up an opposite field double and and then another hit batter. So it seemed like every time he turned around he had more stress and more runners on base.
Nothing and one on Wilson Contreras. He fouled out Tovado his first time up. We're in the top of the fourth. One out, nobody on.
That's the second time that Contreras has asked for time and backed out of the box just as Harvey's been ready to pitch.
Strike three called on the outside corner, and Contreras knew it. 3 strikeouts in the game now for Matt Harvey.
Yeah, we mentioned early on that Harvey had a little extra velocity on his fastball tonight, but he's also got a much smoother looking delivery. It seemed like in the last couple of starts his arm and his body just haven't been in sync, and he's just trying to find that sync, and when you do that it looks like you're trying to muscle the ball. Looks much smoother tonight. Maybe a little bit of that in between start work with Danny Darwin's paying off. First 3 not bad at all for Harvey. As you see, opponent batting average way down, good earned run average. Of course, the first game he pitched he only threw 4 innings, and that was the only game in which he has not given up a run. Last 4 have been more of a struggle. Although he was rolling right along his last time out against the Pirates before he gave up a couple of hits to start off the 6th inning and was tagged with the runners that he left on base.
Pretty impressive inning right there for Harvey. Gets Contreras and Happ looking in a 1-2-3-4.
The Toyota sign during tonight's game. Thomas Salerno from Milford, Ohio, wins this beautiful new Tundra on display at Great American Ballpark thanks to Cincinnati and Northern Kentucky Toyota dealers. Back at the ballpark, and Joey Votto, an award yesterday that's become common for Votto, received the 2017 Lou Marsh Award as Canada's Athlete of the Year. Regardless of sport, he's only one of 3 baseball players to win that award, and the only player to win it more than once. The other 2 to win it, Fergie Jenkins and Larry Walker. And I saw Votto today in the clubhouse, and like we've seen earlier this season, he had on a T-shirt honoring the Humboldt Broncos, the junior hockey team from Saskatchewan that was involved in that tragic accident back in April. They were honored last night in Las Vegas at the NHL End of Season Awards.
Good stuff, Brian. Thank you very much. And now it's nice to have Brian here with us while Jim Day's been over on the radio here the last couple of days. And Brian will be with us, I believe, rolling right through the weekend.
Yes, sir.
A night game again tomorrow night, a 4:10 start on Saturday, and then a 1:10 game on Sunday to wrap it up. This series and the homestand. Votto is hot. He did not like that call a little bit from the home plate umpire Jordan Baker. 0-2. And that strike 3 call.
Well, the hard thing when you don't like strike 2 is to think about not liking strike 2 when you see strike 3. Here's the one he didn't like. I don't know whether he didn't like it because he didn't pick it up or he thought it was a ball, but both of those pitches clearly in the strike zone.
Jeanette first pitch swinging, a roller at Baez, 2 gone.
You know you have a good changeup when you can throw it in the first pitch of the at bat and get a swing like that. I mean, a lot of times, the strategy of a changeup is, okay, establish your fastball first, get them looking for something, 90 or miles an hour or faster, and then pull the string on them. But Hendricks' changeup is so good that he'll say, here it is, and he sells it so well as a fastball. His arm speed is so good, and he just deadens the speed of the pitch with his grip.
Suarez looks at strike 1. He singled into right field his first time up.
86 miles an hour. I mean, is there a starter in the College World Series right now that tops out at 86?
No, not that I've seen. I've watched a lot of it, but no. Bryant has a strong arm, shows it off. 1, 2, 3 through Votto, Jeanette, and Suarez. The ball doesn't leave the infield. 2-0 Chicago. Reds baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Cincinnati Children's, changing the outcome together. And by your local Ford dealer, Ford, go further. Beautiful look at the remade riverfront. Look at that picture. I mean, that is beautiful. The park in between Great American Ballpark, the banks, a new General Electric headquarters, and Paul Brown Stadium. I mean, it's just great stuff. Cubs bat here in the 5th against Matt Harvey, the pitcher to lead things off Hendricks. He struck out his first time up. 2 runs, 3 hits. The big blow, a 2-run double off the bat of Javier Baez in the Chicago 3rd. Harvey's coming off his first perfect inning of the game. A ball and a strike on the pitcher.
Now this is just where you just cannot lose your concentration if you're Matt Harvey. I mean, you got a guy here batting .067. But you also just can't try to guide the ball in there because you're never really able to hit your spot when you do that. There goes that .067. He actually picked on ball 4. Every time I see that batting average like that and see a pitcher get a hit, go back to what the old left-hander used to say. Everybody with a bat is dangerous.
That's right. Bryant hit by a pitch and scored on the double by Baez along with Hayward.
Funny, the first time up, Harvey pitched Bryant away. And then next time up, he tried to come in one time and hit Bryant right on the hand, and that's how he got the first base. This time, he's going away again. You know, these good hitters, you just can't stay in one pattern.
And here's strike 3 called, and Bryant knew it. He had to have been guessing there because that was a fastball right down the can.
He's got 5 strikeouts on the night, does Matt Harvey, and 4 of them are the looking variety. You know you're dotting the I, meaning you're right on the edge of the zone when you start getting those look strikeouts.
There's only one dotting the I. There's only one of those.
Well, you know what?
All right. I mean, that's it.
I concede that to you. You're right.
There's only one of those. All right. So here is Jason Hayward. Shot into left center field. Hendricks will stop at second as Duvall fires it quickly back into third. Boy, is he swinging a hot bat.
He looked completely different to me now than he did earlier in the year. It really never looked like he got loaded up with his hands early in the season. He just tried to start everything from in front of his chest. Look at those hands move back. You know, they start in the box, which is right off your left shoulder. And then he moves his hands back to get a little bit of a load and is able to put some authority into that swing. That's a nice swing, a short stroke.
3 for 3 tonight as Hayward has 3 of their 5 hits. Now Baez in this exact same situation. Had a 2-run double down the right field line his last time up. This time first pitch swinging straight up in the air. Infield fly rule in effect here. And Jeanette will make the play. So Kris, tell the viewers at home, once the infield fly rule was established, what would happen there if all of a sudden, for whatever reason, that ball falls in between Votto and Jeanette?
Well, actually, that's a good question, Tom, because automatically, as soon as the infield fly rule is called, fair ball it has to be, can't be a bunt or a line drive. It has to be fielded with reasonable effort by an infielder, although could be caught by an outfielder. Okay, so those are parameters. But if that ball were to drop, the batter is out. Runners advance at their own risk. So Jeanette could, if he wanted to, have that ball intentionally bang off the heel of his glove, drop at his feet, and then scramble after it really fast. Now the batter is out. Baez has already been called out. But, well, maybe at second base, Kyle Hendricks doesn't know the rule, and he sees
right.
Jeanette scramble after the ball, and he takes off towards third, and you can get yourself an easy out. I'm surprised that there are no teams out there that just do that every once in a while.
But let me ask you, just to clarify here, would the play at third be a forced play or a tag play?
It would have to be a tag play because the forced play is removed with the batter being called out on an infield fly.
So it's like a pop-up and tagging up.
Correct.
Although you wouldn't have to tag up, you could just take off.
Yes, if the ball is dropped, you can take off.
Right.
If the ball is caught on an infield fly, then you have to tag up. There are a lot of layers to it that I would imagine that a lot of major league players don't know.
Oh, there is no question in my mind. That's why I asked you the question, because you can take it to the bank that with 2 runners on in a situation, there will be one of 2 almost every single time that if they saw that ball drop, they think they have to take off for the next base.
You know, I asked a major league bench coach last year that same question. I said, how many guys on your roster would take off for 30? He said 50% of them.
No doubt about it. Not surprised by that at all. All right, one more out to go now for Harvey. And that's Anthony Rizzo, who has popped up to short right and been hit by a pitch.
Well, you can see why Rizzo is on that hit by pitch leaderboard. I mean, that ball comes inside to him. He doesn't even flinch. All right, so in this situation in the first inning with a runner on base, it went a 3-2 count. And after pounding the inner part of the zone to Rizzo, Harvey got him on a little weak fly ball to right field on a slider down and in. Let's see if he goes to the slider here after that previous fastball pitch.
2-2 on Rizzo.
Nope, here.
To the right side. And Harvey's going to get out of the jam. Well done. 2 left. Middle of 5th. 2-0 Chicago.
MLB history brought to you by Geico. June 21st, 1964, Father's Day, Phillies pitcher Jim Bunning threw the 7th perfect game in MLB history and the first in the National League as he defeated the Mets 6-0. Bunning joined Cy Young as the only pitchers to have thrown a no-hitter in both leagues, previously throwing one for the Tigers in '58, 6 years earlier. On this date in MLB history back in 1964. And of course, Jim Bunning, a familiar name, no doubt, not only in baseball but other circles and certainly here in the tri-state.
Of course, he just passed away a year ago in May. Not only a professional baseball player but a politician from Kentucky, both chambers of the United States Congress. In fact, he is the only Major League Baseball athlete to have been elected to both the United States Senate and the National Baseball Hall of Fame. That's saying something. He was 85 years old and grew up just across the river in Fort Thomas, Kentucky.
I'll never forget when I was drafted for the very first time, Tom, as a junior in college. I got a call out of nowhere at my mom's house from Jim Bunning.
Really?
And I was just stunned because as a very, very young kid, I was a Philly fan, you know, for the first, 2 or 3 or 4 years of my life. And my dad always revered Jim Bunning and the Phillies. And boy, just to be able to talk to him, he was the nicest man to me. And he was a former St. X bomber.
I was getting ready to say he grew up in Southgate, but he came over to St. X for high school and Xavier University for college.
And wanted to see if he could lend me any help in any way. And I'll never forget that.
That's great stuff. He was services were held in Covington, and he's buried at St. Stephen's Cemetery in Fort Thomas. There's ball 4 to Jesse Winker to start things here in the Reds' 5th inning. First walk of the night given up by Hendricks. He did hit a batter, Peraza, the very first batter of the game. So you have Duvall and then Harvey. And Harvey is out there in the on-deck circle.
You see the last 6 games, and we'll highlight it right down here, the number of walks per 9 innings for Hendricks. And that's not because he loses control. It's probably because he's trying to pitch away from solid contact.
Short center, Happ will call off Russell, 1 out. Harvey struck out his first time up. He's 0 for 14 as a batter since joining the Reds. Puts down a bunt. And the Cubs turn the double play. Wow. Beautifully done. Contreras. Russell, who turns it over. With a second baseman Baez covering.
authority of the Cincinnati Reds and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form. And the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without the express written consent of the Cincinnati Reds.
Join the Reds for Margaritaville night at the ballpark. This special ticket package includes an exclusive shark bobblehead plus your tickets to the June 29th game. We'll have post-game fireworks show, a Margaritaville themed soundtrack, and this limited edition bobblehead is only available through this offer. Purchase at reds.com/themes. End of 5. 2 runs, 5 hits, 5 left for Chicago. No runs, 2 hits, 2 left for the Redlegs. Those are the numbers on Harvey. 82 pitches through the front 5 innings tonight. Here's Russell. First pitch swinging to begin the 6th inning. Strike 1. Russell's been on base with a walk in the 2nd inning and bounced into a 6-4-3 double play, ending the 2-run Chicago 3rd. The only 2 runs of this game on a double by Javier Baez. 0-2. Brewers a 2-1 lead in the 3rd over the Cardinals. And Arizona just shellacking the Pirates 8-1, that game in the 5th inning in Pittsburgh. Arizona went through that ugly stretch, and now they are getting things rolling again. They're trying to get back to 8 games over 500. They were like 14 or 15 over. Then it got down to like 1 or 2 over, and now they've got it going again.
It was the Reds that got them going. If you remember, they were horrible when the Reds pulled into Phoenix, and they played some good baseball. Their offense began to get on fire, and by the time the Reds left town, they were ready to burn up a whole bunch of teams.
Russell was in some pain after taking that swing. Left hand. Harvey wanted that high pitch called at 97, didn't get it. Tried it again, doesn't get it.
What's really interesting and encouraging is that Harvey's been able to keep that velocity up there in the high 90s. We've not seen him be able to do this really in more than a year. I mean, you go back and you start looking at all the StatCast numbers on Matt Harvey, and I mean, 97 miles an hour. He's not been there since May of last season. And he's done it many, many times here tonight.
Well, he was 0-2 on Russell, and now he's missed on 3 in a row. And that's strike 3 at 96. 6 strikeouts for Harvey.
5 of them looking, and that's highly unusual.
One gone for Schwarber, who has struck out swinging in line to center. Not sure what's going on here. They out of baseballs, or the
something
sign
going on out in the pilot house.
Yeah, the Tri-Health, the white part of it out there.
Oh, in the batter's eye. Now they got it fixed.
So Harvey set to go. And Schwarber settles in from the left side. Strike 1. Well, you look up and it's been a really cloudy day today, and there's that one little sliver of see right through it all. Blue skies. It's like a little piece of hope. Now, see, those are the ones behind us. We can't see all that. There's only like one little patch that's sitting right above the field. 2 balls and a strike. Hopper and Votto. He'll feed the first at the bag to Harvey. 2 down. And now a quick message from Miami Valley Gaming.
Get ready to get lucky.
If Harvey can get this out, and should that be the end of his night, not saying that it will be. Apparently Votto having some fun with the fans over there. This would be a 3rd straight quality start. The last time that happened for the Reds was in September of last year. Bailey, Robert Stevenson, Luis Castillo, all against Milwaukee at Great American Ballpark. Tonight would make it 3 in a row behind Malley and Romano the day before. Our statistician Joe Luckham must have dropped the kids off somewhere, maybe at his in-laws, for a couple of days to get tuned up tonight.
He's making you sound very smart
well,
tonight.
That would be nothing short of a modern miracle. That's why I always give the credit to him. It's not me. I'm going to just start. No, you know what? You're right. I want to feel smart this weekend.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to start claiming it to be me. Is that all right with you?
I think you know, it's not a precedent, but I think it's something you should do again. You got away from it for a while.
Ball back to the screen.
I mean, you sound good when you're smart.
Yeah, but you know, it's overrated. we quote it all the time, the old sophomoric philosophy.
I like that too, actually.
Yeah, it's a good one. And I'm all about sophomoric, if nothing else.
Dependable. Sophomoric.
You like that word. And that attitude. 1, 2, 3 for Harvey. 6 innings, 2 runs. See if the Reds offense can get something going.
For all military by sharing a photo or video with hashtag #HatsOffForHeroes. For each post, T-Mobile will donate $1 to support veterans.
Matt Harvey talking things over with his manager down there. He's right around the 100 pitch mark through 6 innings. And based on the handshakes, looks like Harvey might be coming out of this game.
Threw the ball very well tonight. Best we've seen him do it. Even better, in my opinion, than he did the first night he pitched for the Reds when he was first acquired in the trade with the Mets. He pitched 4 innings of shutout baseball. Tonight, the only 2 runs they got were an opposite field double on a 1-2 fastball. It was a pretty well located pitch. Just a very good swing by Baez to drive the 2 runs in.
Michael Lorenzen is getting loose in the bullpen. It's Hamilton, Peraza, Barnhart. Any further than that, you have Votto. Saw Lorenzen for 1 batter yesterday. Retired the only batter he faced. Reno on Billy Hamilton, trying to get aboard to start this Cincinnati 6th inning, and he does on a 4-pitch walk. How about that?
I mean, Joe Madden can't believe it. 2-run ball game, and I mean, that's just asking for trouble.
Generally, the Reds, like everybody else, when they get a decent outing from their starting pitcher, and in this case, when their starter, regardless of how many innings they stick around, when a starter is allowed 3 runs or fewer, the Reds have won 18 of their last 20 games. And here you have Harvey here tonight. He gives up 2 in 6 innings if indeed his night is over, and we won't know for sure, even though it appeared that way, until the Reds take the field. But they were able to pull out a win for Tyler Mahle in this exact same inning yesterday. Reds were trailing 2-0 as they are tonight, and they got 3 in the bottom of the 6th, and the bullpen held on to nail it down and give Mahle the victory. See if they can do the same for Harvey tonight. Hamilton takes off. No chance. 14 of them for Billy.
Well, I'm glad to see the confidence level of Billy coming up a little bit, running a little bit more. This is an important time to run. You stay out of a potential double play ball. You can pick up an easy run right here if Peraza can get him to third base.
Ball and 1 strike on Peraza. Shows bunt, takes a strike. He's been on twice tonight, hit by a pitch and had a single, also stole a base. Back to 1913 in the same number of games as Barry Larkin. Billy Hamilton, or I mean in the same number of stolen bases, but in far fewer games than the great Barry Larkin. On swinging is Peraza for the first out, and that is a first strikeout for Hendricks. Now Tucker. He is bounced to third and struck out. There goes Hamilton for third and a foul ball out of play. Into left field, Schwarber there for the second down.
That's a disadvantage of not being able to get that runner to third base. Because that's deep enough to score Billy Hamilton on a sacrifice fly. And that's a little at bat right there, that it was a key strikeout of Peraza by Kyle Hendricks that, you know, turns that RBI potential sacrifice fly into a lazy fly ball that doesn't mean anything.
So now Joey. He tapped out to Rizzo in the first inning, struck out looking, took all three pitches his last time up. And they were the only three pitches he had bat. Strike one, strike two, strike three, and that was it. 0-1 this time. One big crack of the bat away. Votto went over 30 games without a home run before hitting that grand slam here 2 days ago. Cubbies have action in their bullpen. Randy Rosario, a left-hander, getting loose here without Brian Dunsing right now. He is away from the club, might be back as early as tomorrow. And of course, here without their closer, and one of the most bizarre stories of all time, Brandon Mauro. Taking off his pants.
You mean that's never happened to you?
No, it hasn't. And I'm 54. And hurt his back. Four-pitch walk to Votto. I mean, Mauro's having a great year, but unfortunately, when his name comes up for the rest of his life, that will be the first story that people tell about him. You know, we were talking to Jeff Brantley earlier. He said that similar kind of thing happened to him when he was picking up a baseball in the bullpen, pitching for the Reds a long time ago in St. Louis. Always had a baseball, he's flipping in the air, sitting down there, and he said all of a sudden he reached over after he dropped it to pick it up, his back completely locked up. He had to walk completely bent over at the waist all the way back into the Reds clubhouse and couldn't be used for the next couple of days. Davey Johnson screamed at him. He told the story before the game tonight, all the way into the clubhouse. And this one is going to be a base hit. And Billy did not know that ball had trickled away, so he had to stop at third. Because you know if he could have, he would have. And most of the time does.
Now the ball just gets by Rizzo, who is probably a little bit out of position right there. I got to figure if Rizzo doesn't deflect that baseball, Baez is able to come over, make the play, and probably go to Hendricks for the out. Billy's looking back, but by the time he sees that ball and picks up where it is, it's too late for him to try. So it's going to take a little two-out magic here by Suarez.
And Billy Hatcher did have a stop sign up Not sure Hamilton ever saw him. All right, they're loaded here. Big chance for the Reds. And their leading run producer at the plate.
Yeah, and this is where if you're Eugenio Suarez, you've got to realize the pressure is on Hendricks right here. You've got to make him come right in there to that special spot.
Suarez, a team best 54 runs batted in, second only to Trevor Story in the National League. 0-2 quickly.
Takes the pitch out of his comfort zone there.
Hamilton a walk to start the inning, then a 2-out walk to Votto after Hamilton stole second. An infield hit by Jeanette. Can the Reds break through against Hendricks here in the 6th? You saw that list. You can add Baez to that list too, because with his 2 tonight, he has the same total of Rizzo, 48. So 4 of the top 6 run producers in the National League are in this series. Baez and Rizzo, Jeanette and Suarez.
Now Hendricks is going to call out his catcher Wilson Contreras right here to probably change things up a little bit. They kept going outside to Suarez in this at bat, and Hendricks probably thinking, you know, he's getting a little bit more comfortable out there. I can't throw a pitch on the plate that he's not going to be able to hit. So maybe I ought to change it up a little bit and come inside and then go back outside. He's got a couple of pitches to work with here ahead of 1 and 2.
This figures to be the action pitch. We'll see. 2 balls, 2 strikes, bases loaded, 2 outs. Cubs lead 2-0. Suarez waits, and here it comes. Ball 3, nowhere near the plate. Now the runners get started. In the inning, and the Reds are on the board. It is a 2-1 game.
Well, we showed you that graphic earlier about how over the last few ball games Kyle Hendricks has had a harder time throwing strikes than he did early in the year, and he's not going to get a chance to throw anymore. That's a slow pace out there by Joe Madden.
Will be our Skyline Chili call to the bullpen. The night for Hendricks is over here in the 6th.
For the Cubs at Great American Ballpark, guys in the dugout checking out the iPad to get a look at what's next on the mound. And some changes for the Reds as well. Transactions today, we mentioned on the pregame SCO. Unfortunately, Scott Schebler placed on the bereavement list. That takes him out of the mix for at least 3 days and a max of 7. And Wandy Peralta, option to Louisville. Jim Riggleman said today, we just need to let him take a step back. He said that pitching coaches Danny Darwin and Ted Power had found some pretty drastic differences in his delivery and his mechanics that they'd like to work on at Louisville. Another lefty, Kyle Crockett, comes up.
All righty, thank you very much, Brian. We get the left-hander now, who we showed you a moment ago, Randy Rosario. He's on to face Jesse Winker. Winker is 0 for 1, bounced into a double play and drawn a walk. And you got to be kidding. I mean, you got to be kidding. You just had a pitching change, and you're standing on the mound when a guy comes into the game. Pitcher may have forgotten, or maybe they forgot to tell him which sign they're going with. Who knows?
Well, the default is a second sign, and it's probably what they're going with. They've been doing it for 150 years the same way.
Ball 1 away. I still cannot believe Hendricks walked Suarez.
I think it had something to do with a little damage control right there. He just didn't want to give Suarez a pitch that he could drive and drive in more than 1 run. He'd just try to nibble away.
Well, he was ahead in the count. 1 ball and 2 strikes. This guy's throwing the ball well. Really, really well. High drive. Right center field. Jesse, yes, sir. Salami.
With a breaking ball, Winker looking fastball, and boy, that is his wheelhouse right there. Thigh high right over the center cut, and he knows it. He looks into the dugout right away. And you talk about a pick-me-up for this Reds ball club. Man, oh man. That is some serious 2-out lightning.
And now base hit in right field by Duvall.
Congratulations, Jesse Winker, on that first grand slam.
And for the Reds, that's their 6th this year. That ties in the Boston Red Sox for the most in Major League Baseball.
How you doing if you're Kyle Hendricks about now?
Guy gives up 3 hits in 5 2/3 innings, and he's touched up for 4 runs.
They open up that bullpen gate, in drives an Exxon truck.
We've seen that same truck. And that's what we were just talking about, tying the Red Sox for the most grand slams in Major League Baseball this year. Had 2 of them on this homestand in the last roughly 48 hours. Votto hit 1 here on Tuesday night, and now Winker on Thursday night. I'm still in shock over the walk. I don't know about you. I know I said that already. I just can't believe it. You're ahead 1 ball and 2 strikes in the count, and Hendricks is an excellent pitcher. We've talked about him all night tonight.
Well, when you top out at 86 to 88 miles an hour, command has got to be your game.
Two balls and a strike on Alex Blandino. And now 2-2. Bases loaded, 2-out walk to Eugenio Suarez. And then that was all for Hendricks. That was his 4th walk, his 3rd in the inning.
Well, they walked Votto in the inning too, but that looked almost like an unintentional, intentional walk. He kept throwing it inside. Votto kept spinning out of the way.
And of course, Matt Harvey now is officially finished with Blandino batting. So we gave you his line a little bit earlier. It was really good. 6 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs. And right now, he is the pitcher of record.
Well, he left the last game winning, except the Reds bullpen gassed the 2 runs in. He ended up getting the loss in that game. The opposite has happened here tonight for him.
Well, we were starting to say about Rosario, and I had said he's been throwing the ball well. Opponents were 6 for 48 against this guy. That's a 125 batting average.
He was due.
Overdue. And this guy was having an incredible year with their AAA team. Grounded foul again before they brought him up. That was in the final week of May. Real nice job by Blandino in the pinch hitting role. An extended at bat here against the left-hander Rosario, who now backs off the rubber. And this one looped into center, a base hit. Duvall advances first to third. And this inning rolls on with the man who started it, Billy Hamilton. Blandino was due. Boy, he needed that one in the worst sort of way. He had been hitless in his last 18 at bats. The longest active streak by a Reds batter this year.
Till end of the bat job. Wasn't long ago that we were lamenting the fact that Jose Peraza was unable to get Billy Hamilton over to third base so the Reds could pick up an easy run. That was 5 runs ago.
Well, 1 to Billy. He walked to start the inning, stole second, and then, as Kris mentioned, he was still standing out there with 2 outs. When they walked Votto, Jeanette had an infield hit. The bases loaded walk to Suarez. And this is now the 3rd or 4th visit to the mound in this inning. The Cubs are down to 2 left in the game. They'll remove 1 more. Jim Hickey, their first-year pitching coach, had a lot of success in Tampa as well as Houston.
Yeah, they figured it was a matter of time until Jim Hickey came over and joined Joe Madden. They were together for a long time down there in Tampa. Good pitching coach.
And Hamilton, a base hit into center field, will bring in another run. And the Reds now lead 6-2. Rosario still not retired a batter. He's allowed 4 hits in a row after giving up 6 hits this entire year. And that is now 4 consecutive multi-hit games for Billy Hamilton. The only other time he did that was back in June of 2014.
Got to put his koozie on.
Now Peraza, 2 balls and no strikes. Oh, Billy, no, I beg your pardon. He had a walk and a single, so he does not have 2 hits in the game tonight. Two and two on Peraza with 2 on and 2 out. Rosario is just shaking his head out there on the mound. He is wondering what in the world is going on here tonight. He has just been dominating opponents this entire year. AAA, big leagues, his manager's seen it. Brings him into a 1-run game with the bases loaded. Obviously he has confidence in the guy. He had retired a batter. 3-2. Nope. Gonna the old bluff throw back to second base.
Boy, you know you're digging deep when you're trying that.
The 6 runs, matching the most in an inning by the Reds this year. It's the 4th time they've done it. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Russell to end the inning. 11 bats, 6 of them score. 4 on 1 big crack of the bat from Jesse Winker. His first career grand slam. Concert series, chart-topping country singer Jake Owen will be performing a live concert on the field Saturday, August the 11th. So if you have a ticket to the Reds game, you can stick around for one of country music's hottest acts. Purchase your tickets now at Reds.com. All right. Phillip Urban will come into the game, just brought up from the minor leagues today to replace Winker. He will bat 8th. No, Urban will bat 6th. A pitcher will bat 8th. And the new pitcher is Michael Lorenzen. Number 8 hitter to start things, Tommy La Stella, has moved into the on-deck circle.
Pretty impressive numbers for Michael Lorenzen. Started the year on the DL. When he came off, it was a new and improved and less effort Michael Lorenzen. I mean, he looks right now like he's out there just playing catch. Whereas if the last time we saw him, at least I did anyway, down in Arizona in spring training, he was trying to throw the ball through the screen every time he picked it up.
Shattered bat. And an easy play for Votto.
And with the easy delivery comes a lot of confidence because he's able to spot the fastball better, stay on top of his breaking ball, and he's getting a lot of easy outs.
In there, strike 2, La Stella, who is batting for Rosario, who goes 1/3 of an inning. Gives up a couple of runs on 4 hits. Gave up the grand slam to Winker. Soft liner caught by Peraza and Lorenzen. Boy, just mauling the first 2 hitters of this inning. And that'll bring up Kris Bryant. Told you Lorenzen faced 1 batter yesterday. That was in the 7th inning after Amir Guerra retired the first 2 batters in the Tigers' 7th inning of a 1-run game. Their best hitter, Nicholas Castellanos, came to the plate, a right-handed batter, and Jim Riggleman brought in Lorenzen just to get him out, and that he did. Tapper, that's a fair ball. Suarez across the diamond, and he did not get it. Bryant runs well, just did beat the throw.
And we talked about what Bryant gives you at the top of the order, and I mentioned at that time, Tom, the overlooked part of Bryant's game is his speed down the line. Actually running the bases everywhere. Big long strides, big tall guy. That play by Suarez gets most runners, but not Bryant.
Now you have the red-hot Hayward, a left-handed batter. You have a right-hander in Baez next. Hayward, his 5th 3-hit game in the last 2.5 weeks. He had none the first 37 games of the year. Lorenzen jumps in front 0-2. Of course, Lorenzen went to spring training, as Kris briefly started to mention, with an eye on joining the Reds starting rotation again, where he was 3 years ago when he first came to the major leagues, and that's where he would still like to pitch. But has made it clear that, he'll do what the team wants, but when asked what is his preference is to, again, be given the chance to be a starting pitcher, and I think everyone would universally agree that his stuff, now whether or not he can stay healthy enough to do it is a different question, and that's a legitimate question, but his stuff would certainly warrant a shot at the rotation.
I think it translates into being a starter, no question. His stuff, that is. It's kind of funny, isn't it? Because people were talking back in Goodyear, Arizona. Look at all these great arms the Reds have, and for a limited number of starting rotation spots. I mean, what are we going to do with everybody? And little by little, things kind of work their way out. Homer Bailey on the disabled list. Anthony DeSclafani has come on. That's another mash job.
That ball is killed. And they're going to hold the runner at third, Bryant. Golly day, is Hayward hitting the baseball. 4-hit night for Jason Hayward.
Now, he's hit 2 soft ones and 2 hard ones, and this is one of the hard ones, right in the sweet spot on that bat. But he's getting his hands back and loaded up. That's a major difference that he is doing now that he did not do when we saw the Cubs last. In fact, he was nearly an automatic out early in the year. It's a little more than the Cubs bargained for when they signed him to that long-term deal.
It's the 9th time in his career that Hayward's had a 4-hit game. Garrett's ready, and he would face the next batter if we get that far. But right now, plan A is Lorenzen to face a right-handed batting Baez, try and get him out and end this inning. Want to make sure Garrett's ready. Runners at second and third. Reds lead by 4 here in the 7th inning. 0-1. Baez a 2-run double back in the Chicago 3rd. 48 runs batted in. And his numbers career against Lorenzen. Foul ball. Now, see, that's a big league move right there. That kid was a kid who was given the ball earlier in the game by Jesse Winker. So he already has a ball. And he gave that ball to a fan back behind him who probably has a little kid. Maybe not. Yeah, there's an empty seat there. Probably does. That's big league. Big league move.
Chewing on a golf ball.
It's another foul ball. I mean, it was the very first inning when Winker caught that ball. And there's a blonde-haired kid. That's Tanner from Bad News Bears. And then, so he's got a ball for the night. And so what does he do this time? Now that he has one, he gives one to another guy. Good for you, young man.
Yeah, that's just like passing on good karma right there.
There's no question about it.
I mean, look what happened for Jesse Winker. He passed the ball on, ends up hitting the grand slam.
That's right.
This young man passes one on. And maybe the guy that he passed it on to will.
And now he's finding out that we're talking about him
jaw.
on TV right now. That's what the text his dad was just showing him. Called him Tanner. That was my man. People ask you your all-time favorite actor. Tanner from Bad News Bears. All right, let's see if Lorenzen can put away Baez. That's the world we live in now. He just told him that we were talking about Tanner. That's what he just said, just read his lips. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Boy, Baez really making Lorenzen work. So you may not love this guy when he plays for the other team, but man, if he plays for your team, you'll take him all day, every day. This guy's a player. Well, I tell you, these fans have been put to sleep by these visits to the mound. The Reds now have 3 left, and the Cubs have 2 left.
I think maybe instead of starting the game with 6, you ought to start with 3.
I think you're right. I mean, it's absurd 6. It's almost laughable.
You don't seem to be chuckling.
You're right. They're not. 2-2 the count. Keep trying to get Baez. There was a time in his career where he's swinging virtually everything.
Yeah. Well, it just seems like all of a sudden now, with a couple of runners on base, Lorenzen's holding that baseball a little bit tighter, trying to spin that breaking ball a little bit harder, and he's bounced the last couple he's thrown up there. He does have a base open, but he also has got to feel that if he loses Baez here, he's out of the ball game. That's something he probably does not want to see happen.
The 3-2 pitch coming. And here it is. And Lorenzen walked it. Wow. Now here comes Jim Riggleman. We're going to have another pitching change in this game. Boy, Lorenzen comes in, retires the first 2. Infield hit, double, was ahead in the count on Baez and walked him. That's all for Lorenzen. Garrett will come on. We're back in a moment.
American ballpark, far and away the most accomplished 2-sport athlete for the Reds. A college basketball career at St. John's before he went to baseball full-time. And when he found out in spring training he would be coming out of the bullpen for the most part, he told me today that that's when he decided to do this as he leaves the bullpen and heads for the mound. As he steps onto the grass, little jump shot, flick of the wrist in honor to his basketball days. He said, now I'm a baseball guy, though. The only thing about basketball is I can still jump, I can still get up, and I can still talk trash, he says.
Javier Baez with first base will be facing Anthony Rizzo, and a breaking ball in there, strike.
Well, what a good looking first pitch that is.
There's some bad blood between these two. That incident we talked about the last time the Cubs were here in town. Runs a fastball at 97 right by Rizzo. I mean, it was Baez that Garrett struck out, but after some jawing began, it was Rizzo who was doing the most jawing and taunting at Garrett. Oh, 2 pitch. Good night, Irene. The Cubs were in town when it was a strikeout of Baez, and all the excitement of a jawing Garrett. Baez didn't like it. Of course, Baez does it as much as anybody in the league. He had done it the night before, and then you see Rizzo sprinting. He's the first guy out there, getting right in the face of Amir Garrett. So, in the first meeting since then, Garrett against Rizzo, I mean, good morning, good afternoon, and good night. New pitcher now coming on for the Cubbies as the Reds lead here 6-2. Batting in the bottom of the 7th inning.
That's Rob Zastrinsky.
I'm glad you said that.
I'll get it down. So Strinsney gets it and throws it easy out to first base.
Strinsney. Okay. Apparently it starts with a Z naturally. Strinsney. Okay. We got it.
What did I say?
You got it.
You're getting notes from Joel Luckup. You're taking a little side tutorial course and hooked on phonics. You got a lot of stuff going on.
I got a lot going on, man. I tell you, all good stuff. Nothing but good stuff. Thank God for that.
You're meeting actors up here in the
don't start there on me. No. Only one of us has actors up here visiting. I have the common man up here visiting. I don't have big Hollywood stars and producers and directors and that kind of thing. That's for you and Jim Day. Lined into left field and caught by Schwarber. And for those of you wondering, Kris, you had a chance to meet the actor Matthew Modine today, right?
I did. I was actually on set and I shared a scene with him at a movie.
You're in the movie?
Shot.
You never told me that.
I didn't tell you that, no.
You're in the movie.
I was going to have to make you wait to watch it.
Wow.
But they were shooting a movie out at the Flash Complex out in Hammersville. If you've ever had a young man or a young lady playing baseball, you've probably been out there at that Flash Complex. A tremendous amateur baseball park built by Mike Daly, right on I think 125
on the way
eastbound. And it's a very moving story, and the most famous actor in the movie is Matthew Modine.
And the next thing you know, he's hanging up here in the booth with you.
Yeah.
That's called big league. Big league. Board against Matt Harvey. The only 2 runs Matt gave up, a 2-run double to Baez in the 3rd inning. Harvey went 6 innings tonight. Looked good. It was the bottom of the 6th inning that changed everything. A bases loaded walk got the Reds on the board. That was all for Kyle Hendricks. Rosario came in to face Winker, and he hit his first career grand slam. Billy Hamilton would tack on a run-scoring single later in the inning. 6 runs, matching a inning high for the Reds, the 4th time they've done it this year. And the Reds lead 6-2. Amir Garrett came on to strike out Anthony Rizzo with the bases loaded in the 7th inning. And the rain falls for the first time tonight. Fly ball straight away center. Hamilton looking up into that rain and makes a catch to retire Addison Russell. 1 out. Garrett begins the 8th inning.
Step up to GMC and get 0% financing for 60 months on most 2018 GMC Terrain models.
It is really coming down pretty good. Two 2-0 on Schwarber. Fastball strike. Schwarber 0 for 3. Struck out, line to center, and bounced out to Joey Votto. Swing and a miss. 3-2 on Schwarber. And a walk with 1 out in the inning.
Didn't miss by much. That number 6 pitch you see on your screen on the Fox tracks.
Reds have Jared Hughes up and throwing in the bullpen. He is ready if needed. One 1-0 on Wilson Contreras. Liner into left. Sounded like he broke his back. And the catch is made by Duvall for the 2nd out of the inning.
Nice little movement by Duvall right there. Really, as the ball was being struck by Contreras, he was on the move.
Hey, for a big, strong guy, and we've seen it the last couple of years, he is really an excellent athlete, yeah. Duvall. He moves so well.
He's just a typical guy that, came up as a shortstop. As an amateur player in high school, then they moved him to third base in college, so he's got the footwork of an infielder. He runs well.
Runs very well. I mean, there's no lumbering involved. It's just sort of an easy glide. Good athlete. And strong as a bull. Boy, broken bat after broken bat in this inning. That sounded like another one right there by Happ.
Right on the end of the bat, broken bat. It used to be that you'd break your bat and the bat would hardly get out of the infield. Now you're breaking a bat and it goes for a line drive.
Now Mauro announces a pinch hitter. And of course that will precipitate a pitching move being made. So Jared Hughes will come on to face Al Mauro. We'll take another commercial break. We're back in a moment. Ohio, we call it Reds Live, presented by Ray St. Clair Roofing, in the same start time tomorrow, 6:30 for Reds Live. Game coverage at 7. Luis Castillo against left-hander Jose Quintana. Have the fireworks after the ball game tomorrow night if you're thinking about coming on down. Third pitcher in the last 7 batters. Brandon Dixon comes into the game, takes over for Scooter Gennett at second base. Reds with a 6-2 lead. Cubs threatening again. They left them loaded in the 7th. Boy, they just keep coming at you. That's the thing about this Cub team, and we talked about it very early on. I mean, it doesn't matter 1 through 9, man. They just keep coming. You get up on them 4 runs, not to say that that's a walk in the park going into the 7th inning, but they load the bases. Got to use a couple of pitchers. Get a 2-out hit after a 1-out walk. Now you got to bring in another guy to try to get an out. Hughes ahead of Albert Almora Jr. 0-2. Those numbers top to bottom are just about as good as it gets for Jared Hughes.
That's a good way to describe his fastball too. I mean, look at the sink on that thing, man. It's like a dry spitter.
Reds will bat in the 8th, leading by 4. great games again tomorrow. Brazil back in action, taking on Costa Rica at 7 a.m. on FS1. Then head over to Fox. A pair of big matchups starting at 10, including Switzerland. We're streaming all live on the Fox Sports app. Now Morris stays in the game. And they bring on a new pitcher.
And that would be Justin Hancock. Right-hander this time after a couple of southpaws have come in. He's also throwing the ball well. That didn't bode well for Randy Rosario, but Hancock comes in here after 8 games with a 1.6 earned run average, although he has walked 9 while he has struck out 11.
Suarez drew the bases loaded walk in that 6-run 6th inning. That's been the magical inning for the Reds these last couple of nights. There's a fly ball to right field. Hayward is there for the first out. Urban batting for the first time. Third, and Bryant throws out Urban. Back-to-back outs for Hancock here in the 8th. If you're looking ahead, the Cubs have the top of the order, Bryant, to begin the 9th. And I assume Rice, maybe not, probably not. It's not a safe situation. Maybe they'll just let Jared Hughes finish this thing up here tonight. Trying to think here for a minute. 1, 2, 3. If Hughes were to get the last 3 outs of this game, he gets a save. He came into the game with a tying run in the on-deck circle. He very much looked like he's dialed in, and of course saves would not be foreign to him. He only had 1 last year, but he has 4 this year with that time spent on the disabled list by Raisel Iglesias. Popped up, and Hayward waits. Cubs will bat in the 9th. Reds trying to win game 1, and Hughes trying to nail it down. baseball on Fox Sports Ohio, brought to you by Geico. 15 minutes can save you 15% or more on car insurance. And by Toyota for over 30 offers. Visit buyatoyota.com. Toyota, let's go places. Start your weekends off with a bang. Fireworks Friday, that's tomorrow night. You can be here for $12. Stick around after the game. Big fireworks show presented by Coca-Cola. Log on to Reds.com for tickets. All righty, so Jared Hughes gunning for what would be his 5th save of this year. If he can get the final 3 outs, they have Iglesias down there getting loose just in case. But really no big deal for Hughes to get these final 3 outs. Or so he hopes. Bryant, Hayward, Baez. Bryant 1 of 3. He's been hit by a pitch, has an infield hit, scored a run. Hayward has 4 hits. And Baez has a 2-run double. 0-2. So here you see that he has 4 saves this year, 4 saves through his first 7 years. So it's a pretty big moment here for Jared Hughes. 5 saves in 1 year. Bottom fell out of all of those pitches. Mercy, mercy. Back-to-back strikeouts for Jared Hughes.
This guy ought to open up a sinker ball academy, because there are a lot of pitchers out there that would love to be able to throw a pitch that looks like that. You know, one of the things you notice when we really slow it down and give you that ultra slow-mo look of his pitch is that how little spin that pitch has when it comes out of his hand. And that's one reason why it sinks so much.
Four for 4 night for Jason Hayward. One ball and 2 strikes. After the game, it'll be Reds Live, brought to you by Performance Kings Honda. Stick around for that right after the game tonight. Brewers are beating up on St. Louis. That game in the bottom of the 7th inning. 7-2, and they're in the bottom of the 9th in Pittsburgh. All Arizona right from the start. 9-3 Diamondbacks. Right side. There's that sinker ball again, inducing the ground ball, and the Cubbies down to their final out. You know, the bullpen got the big out when they needed the big out tonight. You wouldn't say they were great. I mean, they didn't give up runs, so that's the good news. But, you know, Lorenzen loaded the bases. He was bailed out by Garrett. Garrett put 2 on, was bailed out by Hughes. And now Hughes trying to get the final 4 outs. But the bottom line is they don't allow a run.
It's a team effort.
That's right.
And that's what you're talking about.
Harvey was really good tonight. You said that in the first inning.
He just looked a lot different to me. Just a better flow about it, his whole delivery. That and the fact that he was popping the ball at 97 right from the very get-go, and he maintained that velocity right through his really every inning that he pitched.
This guy just keeps falling down. He's swinging so hard. Straight up into the air. Is it playable? It appears to be for Suarez. And that's the old ball game. The Reds win the opener over the Cubbies. Final count of 6-2. Harvey, Lorenzen, Garrett, and Hughes taking care of business tonight. Jesse Winker, a grand slam, and the Reds are winners here tonight. We're back with more in a moment.